In this video, we will be going over more complex questions where the coefficient of x squared is negative. So in the description, we will add the previous videos in the Completing the Square series, and you can go through them to get a better idea of how to complete the square before coming onto these harder questions. And so, to start off, we have our equation, minus x squared plus 11x minus 6 is equal to 0. Now, we're going to start off, as always, by writing the generic formula of all our quadratic equations, which is ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Now we're going to find our coefficient of x squared. We have this as minus 1. So what we can do is we can factorize minus 1 out of the first two terms in our equation. So this is our x squared and our x. And so we get minus 1 times, we get x squared minus 11x, close our square brackets, then we bring down our minus 6 is equal to 0. Now we find our coefficient of x, and we're going to label this as b. So we have b is equal to minus 11. So now we're going to write out our completing the square formula. So this is x plus b over 2 the whole squared minus b over 2 the whole squared. And so we're going to substitute our value of b into this and replace the first two terms. And so we're going to get minus 1. In square brackets, we're going to have x minus 11 over 2 the whole squared minus brackets minus 11 over 2 the whole squared. Close our square brackets. We have minus 6 is equal to 0. Now we're going to square the second part of our formula, and so we get minus 1 times, with our square brackets, x minus 11 over 2 the whole squared minus, this is going to be 121 over 4. Close our square brackets, minus 6 is equal to 0. Now what we can do is we can multiply a negative 1 into our square brackets. And with this we get minus 1 times x minus 11 over 2 the whole squared plus 121 over 4 minus 6 is equal to 0. And so we can bring our 6 into our fraction. So we get minus 1 times x minus 11 over 2 the whole squared plus 121 minus 24 over 4, which is equal to 0. And now we can simplify our fraction here. So we get minus 1 times x minus 11 over 2 the whole squared plus 97 over 4 is equal to 0. Now what we can do is we have our equation in our completed the square form. Now we can start to rearrange, and so we're going to move our 97 over 4 to the right hand side. So we get minus 1 times x minus 11 over 2 the whole squared is equal to minus 97 over 4. Now we're going to move our minus 1 to the other side, and so for this we get x minus 11 over 2 the whole squared is equal to minus 97 over 4 times minus 1. And so we can cancel out our minuses in our numerator and our denominator. And this leaves us with x plus 11 over 2, x minus 11 over 2 the whole squared which is equal to 97 over 4. And so this fraction is now positive. Now we can square root both sides. For that we get x minus 11 over 2 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 97 over 4. Now we can take our 4 out of our square root by having our square root of 4 is 2. So we have x minus 11 over 2 is equal to plus or minus root of 97 all over 2. Now we can rearrange again to get x equals 11 over 2 plus or minus the root of 97 over 2, and we can join our two fractions together. And so here we end up with x is equal to 11 plus or minus root of 97 all over 2. And so we have got x by completing the square on our quadratic equation. Now we have our next equation with the coefficient of x squared being negative. So we're going to write our quadratic equation again, which is ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, and our coefficient of x squared is minus 1. So we're going to factorize that out of the first two terms. So we get minus 1 multiplied by x squared plus 3x, close our brackets, plus 8 is equal to 0. Now we find our coefficient of x. So we're going to set that as b, so b is equal to 3. And now we're going to write our completing the square formula, which is x plus b over 2 the whole squared minus b over 2 the whole squared. We're going to substitute our value of b into this formula, and for that we get minus 1. Then in square brackets we have x plus 3 over 2 the whole squared minus 3 over 2 whole squared. We close our square brackets, we add our plus 8 is equal to 0. Now we're going to square our fraction. So we have minus 1, square brackets, x plus 3 over 2 the whole squared minus 9 over 4. Close our square brackets. We have plus 8 is equal to 0. Now what we can do is we can multiply our minus 1 into our square brackets. For that we get minus 1 times x plus 3 over 2 the whole squared plus 9 over 4 plus 8 is equal to 0. And now we can bring our 8 into our fraction. And so for that we get minus 1 times x plus 3 over 2 the whole squared plus 9 plus 32 over 4, which is equal to 0. Then we have minus 1 times x plus 3 over 2 the whole squared plus 41 over 4. So we simplified our fraction. That's equal to 0. Now we have our equation in the completed the square form. So now we can start to rearrange. And so we're going to move our 41 over 4 to the right hand side. So we get minus 1 times x plus 3 over 2 the whole squared is equal to minus 41 over 4. Now we can move our minus 1 to the other side. And for that we get x plus 3 over 2 the whole squared is equal to minus 41 over 4 times minus 1. We can cancel out our negatives here. That gives us 41 over 4. That gives us 41 over 4. And so we can now square root both sides. And for that we get x plus 3 over 2 is equal to plus or minus square root of 41 over 4. We can bring our 4 out of our square root, as the square root of 4 is 2. So now when we remove the 4 out of our square root, we get x plus 3 over 2 is equal to plus or minus root of 41 over 2. And now we can rearrange to get x is equal to minus 3 over 2 plus or minus root of 41 over 2. We can join our two fractions together to get x is equal to minus 3 plus or minus root of 41 all over 2. And here we have solved the equation by completing the square. As always, thank you for watching and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any new content.